We just broke a story on the website. Harvey Weinstein was attacked last night in Scottsdale, Arizona, as he ate dinner at a restaurant. A man walked up to him, slapped him a couple of times. There is a backstory here that the guy was sitting at a table, saw Harvey Weinstein, walked over to the table. He says he asked him if he could take a picture of him. He was a fan, and Weinstein was very belligerent and rude and said no, went back to his seat. The guy, whose name is Steve, told me, because I talked to him, he said, you know what? I kind of got drunk, and then at the end of the meal, I went over...
But this is what you would imagine, this is what a lot of people are thinking as they see Harvey Weinstein. He's been in Arizona now for a couple of months.
Right.
And they see him out at restaurants. You wonder how people react to him. Well, here's how this guy, Steve, reacted. And then we're going to get into more what Harvey Weinstein's life has been like in Arizona.
Better like you. Don't man, don't do that. Don't. You're a piece of women. Get and what would you do?
So that guy that you saw in the black to the right of the screen, his name is Steve. He told me, look, it's true, I called, and you hear it, I called him a piece of blank, another word for crap, and I called him that several times, and said, you've abused women, and slapped him.
But his initial going up to Harvey, I mean, if he's, the problem is he's saying you're a piece of blank and you did this to women, yet you walked up and wanted a photo with him.
Well, now here's
what I don't understand.
And here's the rub here, that Steve says Weinstein was extremely rude. We talked to the restaurant manager who told us he wasn't rude, that when the guy walked up to Weinstein, he was actually sweet. That's the word that she used. Now, we ended up just getting audio. We haven't even put this up on the website yet. We just got this audio of that interaction because Harvey Weinstein was having dinner with his sober coach, who's going to be on with us live in a second. And the sober coach actually audio taped this guy coming up to Harvey because he didn't know what was going to happen. Here's the interaction.
I didn't get bought yet, but I just love your work. You're a great person. I would love it.
Those days are over. I no longer seek that life. It's not for me anymore.
I love your movies. I love your work.
Thank you.
I know
it's a different time for me.
Yeah, it is. But thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys, Steve, enjoy your dinner. Your name is?
Joe.
Joe, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure, Steve. Thank you.
I mean, Steve was just lying. He's not belligerent there. There's no doubt. I mean, he's saying, hey, Steve, nice to meet you. Have a great night. There was nothing going on there. Steve apparently had a lot to drink. But Harvey Weinstein did not want to call the police. The police did not come. Steve walked out. But the sober coach, whose name is Joe Polish, who was sitting there, watched the whole thing. He's joining us right now. Joe, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hey, Harvey, nice to be here. Hope you're doing well.
We're doing well. Why don't you give us, from your vantage point, since we've seen video, we've heard audio that you recorded, give us, from your vantage point, what happened here.
Harvey, this individual came up initially when we first sat down for dinner, and Harvey was on the phone talking with a family friend, basically showing gratitude and acknowledgement for this person. It was one of the kindest things I'd heard Harvey say to someone, and I've been working with him, for a little bit. I was called upon. There's several people that are working directly with Harvey, and they're very smart people. I'm just one of them. And this person came up because they wanted to say something to Harvey, and Harvey had put up his hand because he was on the phone. And then a little while later, this individual came up, and what you just heard on the recording, asked to take a picture. Harvey was incredibly nice, incredibly gracious. And then when we were going, and then we spent another 30 minutes just having a conversation about recovery and about things that Harvey's doing to, just try to improve himself and to try to want to, help other people with addictions. And so that's what our conversation and our meeting was about. When we went to leave the restaurant, we walked around the corner because they were in the booth next to us, and there was a wall between it, and they were just ready. I mean, this was a total setup to try to get Harvey on video. First, what they didn't send you in the video was the initial part where the guy was trying to be nice. Hey, you sure we can't take a picture together, Harvey? And Harvey's like, it already said, no, I don't do that. I mean, clearly, why would he want to do that right now? That he's trying to work on his, getting his life together. And, what's basically a pretty difficult situation for anyone. And so I'm trying to just not bring judgment to this and just be as helpful as I can when someone asks for help, because I try to help men and women on all sides. And so this guy had his friend who just had the camera ready, was filming us. And then the guy just immediately turned from being a nice person to, slapping Harvey, as you can see, and just talking because he wanted to get a video that he could then sell. I mean, and that's what we...
Joe, can I ask, what did you hear? You said that they were ready to go. What did you hear them saying while you were sitting there at the table that made you wary of what was about to happen when you got up?
Well, I didn't hear all of it, but the best that I can hear, it happened so quickly because we literally got up from the table. They were right at the table next to us with a phone with the light on, just ready to start videotaping. And they only showed you a clip of what they wanted to make it look like. But it was. Well,
Joe, I can tell you because I spoke to both of them, and Steve, the guy who hit him, told me that I turned to my friend and said, "Record this," and then he walked over to him. So he actually told him, "Okay, record this. I'm about to do something," and then walked over to him. So he actually told me that.
And that sounds exactly like something that guy would do. And so, as soon as we walked out of the booth, the phone was right there. The light was on because it was very dark. Right. So it was hard for me and Harvey to see anything because, we're talking about a dark room with a flashlight in your face.
Can I ask you a couple of quick questions while we have you? Because it's just so interesting, all the things you said. Quick questions, quick answers. You've been with Harvey Weinstein for a while now. Has he had confrontations like this or confrontations where people see him in the restaurant before?
First time I've ever seen anything like this happen.
What's his state of mind right now?
Focusing on himself, focusing on his family, not wanting to be in the limelight, trying to make sense of everything, taking responsibility for what he's done, trying to figure out how he can parlay that into helpful stuff. He's been helping other addicts. We've been helping other addicts. My goal is to change the global conversation about how people view and treat addicts with compassion instead of judgment, and find the best forms of treatment that have efficacy and share those with the world.
And speaking of global, did he ever mention anything about the Golden Globes? He was called out in it. There was something that he used to go to. Did he ever mention that?
Well, of course. And I don't want to go deeply into, there's a difference between secrecy and privacy. And when the time is right, Harvey, I'm sure, will talk about all of that stuff, but it's got to be a shock. I'm sure anyone could imagine going to, an event like the Golden Globes for 30 years and then the first time not doing it and having all of this, happen in such a, matter of a few months here. So certainly, but he's doing his best just to focus on himself and how to, make his future better than the past, and how to take his experiences. And I see him taking a lot of responsibility for stuff, and also not being sucked into many things that people have said about him that, he does not feel are true or accurate. And what I have learned through this whole experience is that what people see on the news and read on the news versus what is really going on in real life are completely different things. And all I'm trying to do is just help people that struggle with addictions. And if someone asks for help and I can help them, I will, because I really want to help addicts. And I'm hoping this helps more people with addictions actually come out and admit that they have challenges, admit that they have problems before it ends up becoming situations where people start doing things that they later regret.
Okay, Joe, well, look, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thanks again.
Hi, this is Santrisa Height from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to comment on the Harvey Weinstein situation. I honestly don't even know if I can call those real slaps. It was more like 2 baby back taps. But I don't feel like you should put your hands on anyone. Assaulting someone isn't right, no matter how much you think they deserve it. But it's just not okay. And, say he had hit him back, it would have been a whole other situation that wouldn't have ended well. And it's just not worth it. So you got to keep your hands to yourself.